Well, good afternoon, Kumasi. It is Wednesday, 11th of October, 2023. You are live on Orange 107.9 FM. This is the Women Lately Show, Conversations Worth Having. This is episode 2 of season 4 of the Women Lately Show. And as always, my name is Francisca Taylor, and I will be having a conversation, an insightful one. I know it's insightful even before I have it because I know who I'm going to be speaking with. He's somebody, to be fair, let me be honest, I really admire you a lot. I don't think I've had a chance to tell you. And I think sometimes we don't tell people when we admire them. We just admire them in our head, right? So let me just say I admire you a lot. I admire your work and the impact that you create, right? And so I wanted to say that. Happy birthday, by the way. It was your birthday yesterday and I had no idea.
So later, I think it was later that I saw your comment.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think somebody posted
And then you saw
and
it.
then I saw, I was like,
Okay.
what? Oh, and by the way, I just felt like, oh, he's an October born. That's why he's so amazing. I just had to say that. But thanks for joining us
Thank you so
on the
much.
show today.
Thank you so much.
Today we are talking wealth creation through investment. We missed you last season.
Yes.
You know what happened last season? I was about to call you, and then I saw your post that your wife had delivered. I was like, this is not the time. This is not the time to call him to come on the show. So I was like, you know what, let it rest. And then we ended the season without you. So we are glad you're back.
Thank you so much.
You know, when it comes to, and I'll allow you to introduce yourself in a bit. I hardly introduce my guests. But when it comes to the topic for discussion today, I feel like it's one of those almost technical subjects, right? The words are very mysterious. You hear things like equity. You hear things like mutual funds, bonds. If you are a lay person, it's very confusing. It's just like medical subjects as well.
Yeah.
Very confusing. You know, sometimes somebody will come to me and say, my doctor said I'm not well. Okay, what's wrong? He did some tests. What was the diagnosis? No, it can't be BBB. You know, they are not really sure. Exactly, yes.
What was said.
And I feel like when it comes to investments, we have the same ideologies around it. And sometimes even the people who come to us to talk to us about investment, they speak a lot of gibberish. And yes, it becomes too much. And sometimes when they're asking questions too, it becomes like, we are hydrogen, right? So today I brought you into the studio to talk to us about how we can create wealth through investment. And my goal for this episode is that I want anyone listening to feel like they really understand investment from, you know, the level of, let's say, a class 1 or class 2 pupil or student, right? And the best person to have that discussion with, of course, is you, Dr. Wealth, as I hear you are called. So, Doc, introduce yourself to my listeners. I have my own ideas about you. I mean, I saw loads of things you've achieved, so many certifications. Charlie, it's not easy. So I decided that you are the best person to
introduce.
yes. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Franca. Thank you. And thanks for the compliment. Actually, one lady said this about you, and I think I also have to tell you. She says that the way you act as if it's the old-time school prefects. You walk with so much dignity, so much class and elegance.
School prefect.
So I think it's in the good sense of it, like an old-time school prefect where every day they see you and they admire you from afar. So I think for the viewers, it's a good time to actually talk about wealth. It's a good time to talk about investment. There is an entire economic crunch, crisis that is happening all over the world. Ghana is having its own share. There's a toll on us. And I think many people are wondering what to do. There are some people who are also even totally new to this. They are just used to more or less their salaries. They are not used to anything about wealth creation, wealth acceleration, wealth accumulation, and so on and so forth. So I think it will be a good time. So first and foremost, my name is Evans Dia. I currently am a lecturer at Akenta Piamenka University of Skills Training.
Slow it down.
And entrepreneurial
Slow down the
development.
name, please.
So the name is Akenta Piamenka. So University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. So basically you can call us University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development or
it's
Amstead.
so long.
It is actually a very long name.
Yes.
And what makes it very unique is that you can, I remember I grew up KNUST. So when I was a kid, I used to say I'm at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Junior Secondary School.
That's a
it
mouthful.
was long.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. But the moment the school comes to that level of class and standard, it becomes normal.
Okay.
And that's where we are trying to take Amstead to. And eventually, I think people already fall in love with the school and what we do there.
Okay. So what do you lecture?
So I'm a lecturer. I'm with the management department.
Okay.
Specifically, I help with entrepreneurship. I help with finance. I help with the investment courses, strategic management, and also I'm also with anything that has to do with finance.
Okay.
So entrepreneurship, strategic management. So bachelor's degree, BSc, MPhil, MBA courses, and masters in technology. And so these are the courses that I take and I teach there. Aside that, I'm also a consultant. So I do some consultancy work for the World Bank. I do some for UNDP, MasterCard, Foundation. Which one am I forgetting? Yeah, some of them. And then we also help with one or two individuals with coaching and mentoring and stuff. Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm interested in how you spent your day yesterday. Are you one of the people who forgets your birthday?
No, actually I couldn't. It wasn't possible because I have my friend, today is his birthday, Albert Pepper.
Okay.
So he always will start celebrating my birthday on the 9th. So there's no way I'll forget it. So he'll start wishing me happy birthday on the 9th.
Right.
At midnight, he will call, or my mom will call, my wife. So it's literally almost impossible to forget it. And it's actually a triple celebration, though. So it's my mom's birthday.
On your birthday?
Yes. So we are both of us are 10th. And then it's my birthday, and it's my wedding anniversary.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's actually a day.
So you can't forget.
I can't forget.
I get that.
So yesterday was, I planned doing nothing. For the first time, I planned doing nothing. I decided just to call my mom, talk to my wife, then just back to work. But apparently some people had surprises for me. So yesterday I saw some saxophone and some a whole lot of stuff. Apparently a lot of surprises, and I think I was humbled by them. Yeah.
That is interesting. That's amazing. And you're a family man. You keep saying my wife now. How many other kids now?
So now we have 4. So 3 strong boys, and now I have a beautiful girl.
Finally. The icing on the cake.
So the icing. So now we are done.
That is what they will say. Interesting. So let's get right on with the discussion. We are talking wealth creation through investment. I was reading your book. It's actually easy to read, right? But you brought out a concept about wealth that I want you to go into, because I think a lot of times when people say wealth, we straight away think of money.
Exactly.
But talk to us about what you define as wealth.
So the good thing about how I define wealth was the fact that I had studied a lot about wealth, and I'll mention some of them. So Kiyosaki, Rob Moore, and most of these people, when they talk about wealth, they look at it almost like from a one-dimension perspective.
Okay.
So what I do when it comes to wealth and definition of wealth is to bring the wealth back to the people. So in my book, I actually start by asking the reader, how do you rather define wealth? So I'm able to develop a quadrant, so 4 ways in which you can define your wealth. And in doing that, you're able to help people to find themselves.
Right.
So for some people, wealth can be materialistic, and there's nothing wrong with it for people to see wealth as a material gain.
Okay.
There are some people, no matter how much they gain on this earth, if they don't have cars, a lot of money sitting in their account. If they don't have all these buildings and stuff, they feel they are not rich enough.
Right.
So some people, wealth can be materialistic for them. There is nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
An example is a popular one is Kwame Despite. Once in a while during a wedding, we see a whole convoy and show of cars. You shouldn't criticize him because actually that is what wealth would mean to him.
Okay.
And for such people, until they show these cars, it means they are not worthy. So wealth could be materialistic to some people. So in simple accounting terms, we call it net worth, which means that your total assets minus your total liabilities.
Right.
What it simply means is that all the things that you own as against the things that you owe.
Right.
So today, if you have maybe 2 houses, you have 2 cars, you have a loan. If you deduct the value of the total cars, houses, and money at the bank from what you owe, how much you are left with is what you are worth. And that one, we call it in accounting your net worth.
Right.
Now, this one can be someone's way of defining it. But the other 3 ways that people have not been looking into, and that is where I think most of the times we become a bit one dimension. So other people would want to define wealth based on independence.
Okay.
So some people think that I'm working at a bank, I'm working in a multinational corporation, but it seems that I don't have time for family, I don't have time for church, I don't have time for vacation, I don't have time for this. It looks like I'm getting the money, but I'm selling my time for that.
Right.
So for some people, independence is very important. And the independence, we can take it from 3 angles. Some want financial independence, where they don't have to work every day before they make the money.
Right.
Recently, when we're having the house summit at Amstead, I was sharing this example with them about, I was in New Jersey and I saw some rich guys. So a friend took me to some very good place and showed me, oh, here are the rich guys. And then they were playing golf. The next time I passed through, they were playing golf again. But these are the rich guys. Meanwhile, the other people who are working for them are spending all their time at the workplace. So how do you then, if wealth for you is that financial independence, time independence, or even geographical independence, how do you achieve it? So for those people, it's no longer materialistic, but it's about time.
Right.
It's about even that financial independence. So financial independence and materialistic are not the same. Somebody can choose to, Elon Musk, even with all the money he's having, there are times he's sleeping in a garage. He's not counting the material gains. It's all about the financial independence, his ability to buy Twitter when he wants to buy, his ability to do this. There are some people, it's about the time. So I have a friend who left, we used to be in the bank together, who left the bank because she realized at a certain point she couldn't have time for family. So she sacrificed to have a shop and stay in a shop than be in a bank. So some people, that is what it means to them. So those who are materialistic should not criticize those who are going for the independence.
Right.
And then there are people that also go for the psychological reasons or the social reasons. So some people define wealth based on their social reasons or their psychological reasons. And the way I explain this is very simple. I'll give you an example of Pablo Escobar. This guy was, I'll call him a drug lord, very known in Colombia, everything. But at a point with all the monies that he had, he still wanted to become the president of Colombia. It became an obsession. Now the thing is that for such a person, he thought materialistic was his definition of what? It wasn't. Irrespective of all the material gains he had, until he had that social status of being the president, the most powerful man, it wasn't enough for him. So there are some people that politics will be good for them. Leadership at church, leadership at other places will be good for them. So some people would enjoy power even more than money. So wealth can be defined in so many ways. For some people, it's psychological. It could just be the peace of mind that they want to have. So some people would prefer a job that pays them little money, but they have their peace of mind, than a job that pays them so much, but every day they are afraid of losing their job and so on and so forth. So you as a person would have to learn, how do I define wealth? What is wealth to me? And I'm just giving you guidelines. So in my book, I don't come as a connoisseur, as an all-knowing person who knows everything. No, it's just a guide. I'm giving you indicators, steps, and ways in which you can find yourself.
Okay. So let me put the question back to you. How do you define wealth?
So that's a good one. So for me, wealth is anything that permits me to do more and achieve more. Literally.
Sounds like something that should be on a t-shirt. Something that helps you to do more
and to achieve more. Yes. So for me, wealth is a means to an end. So
it's
money
not the end
is not the end itself.
Right.
So that's how come now I do a bit of kingdom wealth when I go to churches and I'm talking to them.
Okay.
The church needs to know that money is not evil. Even scripture. So for those who are religious who are listening, money, Bible says that is the love of money that is the root of all evil, not money.
Yes, people say money is the root of evil.
But saying Bible says that money answers all things.
Yeah.
So we need to understand that money is a tool.
Right.
And the same way money is a tool, wealth is a tool, poverty is also a tool. In fact, poverty is being weaponized now. And I can actually prove it to you in so many ways. Imagine that so many young people are doing so well, very well. Yeah. And then a politician comes around, just any politician. Do you think we'll stop our jobs and go and follow the politician?
No.
But when I don't have a job, when I'm not doing well, when things are not well, and then we'd always have to be at the mercy of such people. Yeah. So the whole thing is that poverty and wealth are all tools. And because they are tools, they can easily be weaponized.
Right. Okay. You're one of the people who I always listen to with a paper and a pen, or a book and a pen, because I tend to learn a lot. Yeah. John Bedubonsu is joining us on YouTube now.
Excellent.
He says, very great show. I need to meet this gentleman because I need wealth.
Fantastic.
Mr. Bedubonsu will arrange for a meeting with Dr. Wealth so that he can help you, all right? Now, I want to find out about mindset when it comes to wealth. I feel like, yes, Michael Osei is also joining. He says, awesome time. Indeed. We've just started. What mindset should somebody have to be able to build wealth? Regardless of, right now, you've let us know that wealth is a very personal thing, right? But what sort of mindset should somebody have to be able to build wealth?
I always start with this. We are communicating right now, and anybody listening to this particular show is speaking English, and then that person is able to understand English.
Yeah.
It's because we're having a common language. That is a reason why there's a communication happening here. So if I'm speaking English and somebody speaks Arabic and has no understanding of English, and there is no translation for that person, all that I'm saying will end up being gibberish for that person. Yeah. So the most important thing is that you cannot make good wealth if you don't speak the language of wealth.
Okay.
So you need to first understand that money and money matters are not a preserve of a few. It's not something that wealth is just for some few people. Because so many people think that, for me, wealth is for the Bill Gates, it's for the Sam Jonas, it's for all the rich people, and for that reason, I'm not someone, it shouldn't concern me. The first thing I need to explain, and I've said this over and over and over, there will be just let me give 5 principles because of our time that I would want to share as we go on.
Okay.
The first most important thing is that money would always flow towards those who understand and value it. So first one, you need to learn the language of money and wealth.
You should be taking notes.
The second one is that you should know that money flows more towards those who value and understand it more. In other words, money is like, let me use currency to make it simple for those who are listening. The word is current, which means it's a flow. It
flows, right?
So you need to understand that money can never be stagnant.
Okay.
If you keep money under your bed, you'll still be poor. If you keep money and you don't let money work, you'll still be poor.
Right.
Money is supposed to come to you and out of you and back to you. In other words, it should go through you and back to you. Okay. If you do not understand this, you will become a block to money. So that's the reason why many people think they can save their way towards wealth. You don't save towards wealth. You save to build a capital to now build wealth.
Yeah.
So savings is not for wealth. Savings is only a stepping stone to what?
To wealth
It's
creation.
rather investment that would now lead us to proper wealth creation.
Right.
And that is where people also end there. They will create the wealth and they end there. You create it, you also have to come back to savings. So savings will be a fundamental one. So the first most important thing, speak the language of wealth.
Okay.
The second thing is that you need to understand that if you do not value money, you do not understand money, you not get much of it. Because the whole principle is this. If you have, I give you a stone now, and the stone is even gold. I remember I met some miner, and then the person gave me a rock. Said, I know you're an intelligent person. Imagine if come here, I've given this. I said, you are so intelligent, take this. You might not thank me, but this is gold. It's not been refined yet.
Right.
It is in its raw state. So many people are sitting on gold mines, opportunities, but because they do not understand money, that is the reason why they've not been able to exploit it and be at the top where they're supposed to be. So you need to understand that. There's also this component that I explain over time. You need to understand that money over time, in terms of currency specifically, would devalue over time. And I always give this simple example. In Ghana here, we used to buy a bag of cement for maybe 25 Ghana cedis. Today, we are buying a bag of cement for almost 100 Ghana cedis. What has happened? Simple inflation. Somebody asks, what is inflation?
Ghana has happened to them.
So those who are listening, inflation basically is where we have a lot of demand and we have little supply. Inflation is actually happening at a point where the other monetary factors that would also cause it. So, for example, the depreciation of the CD against the dollar, because we are an import-driven country. So what happens is that people are demanding for one particular thing, but because of the depreciation of the CD, we can't purchase enough of it. For that reason, the price will go up because the demand is higher, the supply is lower. Now, what happens here is that over time, if I keep my money and I don't do anything with it, so imagine that I had 10,000 Ghana cedis. With 10,000, back in 2020, I could buy something around 40 bucks. Okay. Now, if I'm buying 400 bags.
400,
If I'm buying 400 bags of cement, that is in 2020. Today, with that same 10,000, I would only buy 100 bags. What has happened to my money? The money I have in the form of CD has depreciated, has devalued. So what it means that when you are trying to only pile up money for the future to be rich, you'll be piling up and be racing against inflation. So piling up of money is not the way to wealth. You pile up because you need something to start to generate wealth. And that is what we'll be talking about very soon. So you need to understand that one. There's also this thing that we need to always understand. Wealth, as I explained, or money in general, is a flow. So we're having money coming to you and money going out of you. The problem with so many people is that it's not that they don't know how to earn money. Most people don't know how to spend money. So I have two friends. One of them earns 25,000. One earns 5,000 Ghana cedis. This was last year's story. The one with 5,000 Ghana cedis has been able to secure a parcel of land. The one earning 25,000 Ghana cedis is actually not being able to meet his own basic needs. Somebody will say, how is that possible? There's something we call the Parkinson Law. The Parkinson Law simply states that every month's expenditure, your spending, will rise always sometimes commensurate to your income. If I am earning 1,000, I'll not go and buy an iPhone. If I'm earning 5,000, I may look at an iPhone. If I'm earning 25,000, then I'll go for the latest iPhone 15.
Without batting an eye, because next month it will come again, right?
I will use a Corolla, but if I'm having, I'll go for a Mercedes, the latest one. So I'm living in a 2-bedroom at somewhere less expensive. I'll now go and live at Inshire, so I'll go and live at East Legon or somewhere. Eventually, I'll start spending according to the way I'm earning my income. And then I'll start living beyond my means. So one way to create proper wealth is your ability to live within your means. This is a simple old trick that we all know. You've been hearing this thing. Cut your cloth according to your size. Live within your means. You've been hearing this over and over and over. I don't preach frugality.
Okay.
I don't preach it.
Interesting.
I don't. People think that we need to like we say in Chi Maisa, prepare, and then as try your possible best, don't know. That's not what I preach.
Okay.
What I preach is that if you think your spending is too much, then increase your revenue lines.
Yeah.
Because you can decide to have one source of income, two sources of income, three sources, four sources. So then it will be able to match. But what you are going to do is that do your possible best that no matter what, your expenditure line should be below your revenue
income,
lines.
right.
And that's how you should do it.
Interesting. You know, most financial educators always preach frugality, so I'm surprised you said you don't preach frugality.
Actually, the whole thing is that I preach discipline.
Okay.
Have a financial plan. Have a financial goal. Respect it. But you should not go to the point where you can't just afford yourself a television. You know, some frugality is so bad to the extent where people don't want to even afford themselves some luxury. That is not what I preach.
Right.
I actually preach that set financial goals, be disciplined. When you achieve it, reward yourself.
Okay.
That is not total frugality.
Right.
But you need to be disciplined and have financial goals.
I like what I'm hearing. Let's read some comments. Michael Osei on YouTube says, awesome time. Again, he says, belated happy birthday to Dr. Evans Drea.
Thank you.
Linus Voodoo. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your name right. He says, anytime I miss Dr. Drea's show, I'm not always myself. I'm proud to be mentored by him. Time with Dennis says, my friend's mentor. I think I have to join Maxwell Tete Kubi so that Dr. Drea will mentor us together. Shout out to Financial Max, former Amistad SRC Financial Secretary.
Okay.
Masa, I cannot even breathe after reading your long comments. But thanks for joining us on the Women Lately show. John Bedubo says, I need the money. It's an internal joke. Michael Osei says, but this man, they speak English slow, yet releases the nuggets giddy, giddy, giddy. Yes. So I hope you are taking notes anyway. But you have to follow us on YouTube or subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can always watch the replay. Christian Ability says, great show. Shout out to Maxwell for putting up this link. That's you, right? You're getting all the fans. What is that? You're still live on Orange 107.9 FM. This is the Women Lately show. In the studio with me is Dr. Evans Drea, a financial guru and a friend of the house at this point. If you want to join the discussion on WhatsApp, you can do that on 0548 501 584. 0548 501 584. If you're going to see him, he's going to charge you, but you can ask your question for free and he will answer you. So get the WhatsApp link and then ask your question. Caleb Yeboah says, great man, great content. Yes, I totally agree. Doc, where does our wealth mindset come from before we go into investment proper? Is it from our parents or what?
So I've always said this, so I call it your wealth story.
Okay.
I call it your wealth story. In my book, actually, I actually handle it. How you grew up and how your parents brought you up, the environment that you grew up in, has actually formed a certain wealth story in your mind.
Right.
So if you are not careful, that would be able to limit you. There are some people that when somebody shows a little bit of materialistic wealth, the first comment they'll make that they are poor people. Why are these people wasting money? It's a mentality from where they grew up from. What you need to do about your wealth mindset is that you need to have your own wealth mentality.
Okay.
Whatever you have up till now is what you've been taught.
Okay.
And it's like you've been programmed and conditioned by your environment.
Right.
And that is the reason why I always advocate, and I do that often. As much as possible, never limit yourself to one geographical location.
Okay.
Anytime you have the chance, even within Ghana, if you're not traveling out of the country, you don't have the means within Ghana, go to Tamale, go to Cape Coast, go to Ho, go to Accra, go just travel around and experience other cultures, other ways of thinking. It would actually help you. in our country, a lot of people, they go to the same church throughout their whole life, the same school, the same people, everything. So if you are not careful, you have a myopic way of seeing things, not a broader one. Being open-minded does not mean that you should accept everything. You should know your core principles and values. So the first thing I need people to understand is that you need to currently be able to determine what is your worth story. When we mention money, what comes to your mind? There are some people that when they hear about money, it is something that should not be talked about. Money would bring evil things. Money will make. I have some friends who believe that money is evil. They believed it till we started engaging. Then life started hitting them hard. And then they'll come to me that they need money. I said, okay, you said money is evil. Why do you need money now?
Exactly.
Reality will now come in. So first, identify your own world story.
Okay.
Point number 2, you need to determine your world story. How do you do that? Start by the definition of worth. And
For
those,
you.
exactly. And once you define it, you would now have to intentionally build your own mindset about worth.
Okay.
And that's what we are doing right now.
Okay. So then nobody can say it's because of my parents, right? Because
Exactly.
I find it very wrong when I see adults still blaming their parents for stuff.
I will say that it doesn't matter where you are born, but the very moment you start growing, you become the captain of your soul.
Yeah.
You become the decider of your destination. So what matters is that it does not matter where you are coming from.
Right.
I recently put something on Facebook and said, I have seen the first become last, and I've seen the last also become first. So for that reason, I'm confident the poor can be rich, and the rich can
also be poor.
So you need to determine that this is where I want to go, and with determination you can get there.
I'm liking everything I'm hearing. Let's go into investment proper, right? What are the factors somebody should consider before they start investing? Or maybe you should break down investment for us before we go to the factors.
So actually, I teach investment strategy, by the way, as a course at school. I teach it. And when those I teach are actually mature students. So most of them are people who are about 30, 40, 50s and stuff. And one thing I realize is that their mindset about investment, it takes time to break in and to put in new concepts into their mind. And that's what I'm going to do with some of the audience, because I may not know everybody. But the thing about investment is that you can never invest and make good gains if you do not understand what you're trying to invest in. Quite a number of people have not understood investment for themselves. Anything they know about investment is what they've been told. You see, we're in a coso. This is what works. This is what is moving. And then they jump on it. So the first most important thing you need to understand about investment is that you cannot do investment without understanding investment. So what is simple investment? Investment in the simplest of forms is me employing my money to make more money for me. That's all investment is about. So it simply means that if we want to invest, instead of we working for money, we want our money to work for us. That is the equation that we are trying to have here. So investment in its simplest form is employing your money to work for you to make more money. So the question here is that how do I employ my money and how can my money make more money for me? And that's how we go step by step. So the question that every single person asks, but I don't even have money. How do I make money? I have always said this, that if you have no earning capacity and you have no earning ability, then you shouldn't be talking about investment. So I often tell people that before we talk about investment, you need to have something you already have, which means somebody has accumulated some inheritance for you that you are going to use to invest, or you yourself has an earning capacity that will bring money to you. When the money now comes to you, what you do with the money, that is the investment part we are going to talk about. So whenever we are talking about investment, we are not talking to people who have no money. So if currently you're unemployed, you're not earning any money, you have no inheritance, this investment you are not there yet.
Okay.
It means that you need to start earning money.
Right.
You need to start accumulating it before we can talk about accelerating it. So wealth creation is the first number one component of investment. One part of it is wealth creation.
Okay.
So you would now begin by doing this. And I tell this, maybe some students are listening, some unemployed people are listening, some people are yet to find a job are listening. You need to understand that if you, at every moment in your life, two things you should be doing. If you are not earning money, you should be learning to earn money. So learn to earn money or earn to learn more money. That's what you're supposed to do. So what it means is that if you are unemployed today, then you need to look for high-skilled jobs or high-skilled trainings that would make you more valuable.
Right.
So in other words, today I'm unemployed, no problem. Give yourself 6 months. Can I learn some cybersecurity, data science, data analytics? Is there a trade? Is there some artisan stuff? Can I learn how to make tiles, plumbing? Is there something I can do within this short period that I can use as a way of earning money?
Yeah.
Once you start earning that money, that is when we will now start talking about how to accumulate it and how to accelerate it.
Right.
So investment is all about making your money work for you. So if you don't have money, then you can make money work for you. So our quote Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about this thing two ways. He says that, actually, let me paraphrase him because I add a little bit to him, but the source is from Robert Kiyosaki, not mine. He says that there's nothing wrong with it at the beginning of your life to work for money. There's nothing. Because some people don't have any inheritance. Some people don't have any family, any uncle, auntie, father to help them. So they have to start. So at the beginning, do all your possible best. Get a good job. Learn a trade, learn a skill, go to school, get that job, and then start earning money.
Right.
But the problem is this. If you stay in the time for money, skill for money alone, you would not get to your wealth destination.
Right.
Because there is one point that I couldn't make earlier. Wealth does not flow towards time and work.
Yeah.
Wealth flows towards value and service.
And skill.
And service. So for so many people, they think that because I work so hard, because I'm giving more time, I should be rich. No. I have seen some of the most hard-working people who have gone on retirement and they are now about completing a house or they are now about having a car. We've seen it over and over.
Yeah.
And these are very hard-working people. So it's not all about just hard work. It's not all about just time. But it's about how you are able to make that money and now put that money into useful or resourceful use. So how do we do that? A lot of people, I get a lot of questions now, that the dynamics of Ghana is changing. People had so much confidence in bonds, treasury bill.
Yeah, we're going to come there soon.
And now there's this financial haircut. There's this what called domestic debt exchange program happening in the Ministry of Finance and so on and so forth. And people are now losing confidence in these places. But let me tell you something. Ghana has been in worse positions than this. And when I say worse positions, I'm not even talking about this 21st century. Before 21st century, we've had worse position in Ghana. Yet, we became the darling boys of the Eurobonds. And that's how come the West keep coming back to us. The reason why our borrowing keeps going up is that irrespective of these economic indicators we see, the long term will still stabilize. There's something we say, and that's the reason why somebody tells me, why am I still in Ghana? Because I know, as an economist, that whenever there is an economic downturn, it would not stay forever. There will be an economic upturn. And when people who stay during the downturn are able to leverage during the downturn, when it turns, they will be the captains of it.
Interesting.
Yes. So I always tell people who are traveling outside, as many people who can't earn much money now here and are not doing well, go. But when you go, have your mind that you are going for a skill that will be very, very valuable in future. So I advise people go for very high skill jobs trainings, anything you are going for, you should not be worse off than what you have here. Then that will become an experience, an exposure that will bring you more money later in future.
Right.
But if you are living here for menial jobs and you are living here for things that will make you worse off, then by the time you come back, those who stayed, who qualified, when the economy turns, because each time the economy goes down, there'll be societal upheaval, there'll be uprising, there'll be a lot of things. It will still shape it back to normal.
Interesting.
And those of us who are building, so if you look at someone like me, I'm a very slow builder.
Okay.
I have planned life so many years ahead, and I'm building very, very. In some of the things that I'm doing, people who do not see very far will think that, what is this guy doing? But in 10 years to come, they would understand exactly what some of us were doing. And what we are doing is that we are building more and more and more people. Any man who builds more and more people would never be poor in future. It's never possible. The reason is that it is called social leverage. I teach leverage.
Right.
And leverage is something that people do not understand. Even in finance, we call this LBO, leverage buyout. And this is a technical term in finance. And an example is X-Trader. So when Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, was trying to buy Twitter, when he was buying it, he went to JP Morgan, Chase, and the rest, and said, okay, you know something? I have the money, but I don't want to use all my money to buy Twitter. So I have this money with you. I would want you to lend me some money so that I'll be able to buy. It's called leverage buyout because what is happening is that he's using part money based on his own money he has to buy another company.
Right.
What he's doing is that he's built enough financial capacity that banks will trust him and give him those billions of dollars. What I'm saying is that there are some people who would start a business and they'll start complaining on social media, my friends are not supporting me, but they've not leveraged their network. You see, hand goes, hand comes. When I support a younger generation today and I am in need of that support in future, they would also come and they will support. So there are so many ways that you are going to invest, and it shouldn't only be financial investment.
Right.
Sometimes it's pure knowledge you invest in. So while I'm going to make it very simple for as many people who are listening, is that here in Ghana, I have so many people who came to me and said, they are giving me a bit of financial haircut now. They're talking to me about market value and so on. I don't want to go into the technical terminologies of it. All it simply means is that there's amortization, there's depreciation, there's market value. All they are saying is that currently this bond you are holding, based on the current economic challenges we're having, based on the DDEP, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program that is ongoing and everything, the value of the money you have with us is 80% of the value you had as at that time. Some people come to you and say, should I then take it that way? So I told them, if you have something better to do with that money that has a better return on investment, take the money, take that discount, and then go and invest it in that one. So for example,
you say discount, it sounds good. Take the loss because
so for example, you have 100,000 and then maybe Data Bank or any other place, EDC, they're telling you is now 80,000. No problem. If you have an investment that you can do, and when I mean an investment, maybe a business, a trade, a land, anything that can bring you a higher return on investment, then go for it. But if you don't have any better option, then stay in the game. Because in investment, the long run person wins, not the short term.
right.
Because eventually the economy will bounce back. This has nothing to do with politics. It doesn't mean we are happy with the managers of the economy. Not at all. I'm one person that when I have to hit hard at the government, we hit hard at them. Because if it's not going well, it's not going well. And currently it's not going well. The government knows, the people know, we all know. But what we are saying is that what is happening now is something that is happening globally, everywhere. And is going to get worse, actually. The current situation is not going to improve. it's going to get worse, but it will get better within the next, maybe from next year or something. It's not going to totally improve all of a sudden.
Okay.
It's not going to improve right now. But with time, as confidence are coming and people are trusting the IMF has come, things will get back. Eventually, we'll bounce back. And when we do, those who had money for the long term, they'll be okay.
Interesting thoughts shared by Dr. Evans. Dria, I like the fact that you are talking about the fact that it's not political in nature, because sometimes I think there's a tendency to get emotional. This is money we are talking about.
Yes.
So you can't tell me I gave you money, my intention was to grow the money, and you have reduced the money by as much as maybe, like you said, 20,000, and you want me to sit and say that what, times will get better? No. You know, it's tough, but we are still learning. And hopefully things are going to turn around, as you are saying. You are live on Orange 107.9 FM. This is the Women Lately Show with Dr. Evans Dria. And we are talking wealth creation through investment. Frimpong says I should remind you that you should subscribe to Orange 107.9 FM on Facebook. These days we do not stream live on sorry, I said Facebook, on YouTube.
On YouTube.
I'm so used to saying Facebook, but we've moved from Facebook. We're on YouTube now. So please subscribe and let's carry the conversation over there. But if you want to join the discussion on WhatsApp, you can do that on 0548 501 584. We are not opening the phone lines, are we? Phone lines? Okay. Just in case you have a question you want to call in and ask Dr. Dria, you can do that on 0541 022 318. The number of questions I have and the way the time is going, I think maybe at some point we're going to have to do a part 2 of this sometime this season, because it's not a topic we can rush through. We have to really get it. Christian Ability is also joining on YouTube, and he says, financial guru mentoring financial Max. I never knew Maxwell is right there. My regards to you, Max, from your brother, Christian Peto. He's smiling, Christian. Anyway, so talk to us, Dr. Dria, about investment tools available now. You said that a lot of us have lost confidence in what tools were available. So if somebody wants to invest in anything now, in the current now, we know you said things will be better. I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about now. Where can someone invest their money now?
So for the listeners, I'm a former banker. So I have about a decade of experience in banking in 3 countries.
Do you miss the bank?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes. I miss the bank, the customers. It's the customers I miss. I miss solving problems for people where somebody needs a financial bailout and then you get the money on time for the person. Solving problems. So that's what I miss. Okay. But the job itself, no.
It's understandable.
Yes, I miss the moments where you've saved someone's business and you've helped. Yesterday, somebody sent me a message, a former customer, and it's like he and his entire family. I was the first person who got them a loan, and now he's become one of the biggest distributors for the whole northern sector. Oh, wow. Very young. I met him at 27 years. Okay. Now he's winning awards all over. Wow. So those are the things I miss. Okay. I mean, helping lives, making them better. That's what I miss. Yeah. So for investments in Ghana,
current
one.
Yes.
Surprisingly, the very old ones, will still be part of the current ones. Okay. And the reason why I'll still talk about them is this. There are some people who want to play safe with investment. Yep. So in investment, we have 3 levels. So the low risk, the medium risk, and then the high risk. The low risk has always been these bonds and bills. By the way, for ease of explanation and for people to understand, treasury bill is normally within 1 year. So we have 91 days, 182 days, and 365 days. Yeah. And the bonds are normally above 1 year. So normally 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and so on and so forth. These bonds and bills are still safe in terms of long term. The treasury bill now, most of the banks are going for very short term, and the percentage is not that much, but it's still good. So I would advise that if you want to do treasury bill, go for 91 days. And most banks are even doing that because they don't want to avoid a lot of problems in future. So 91 days, you're able to manage it, and then you can see what you can do.
Right.
The bonds are still good for long term because eventually, after the domestic debt exchange program is over, things would have to come back to normal. Otherwise, there'll be a collapse of the entire financial sector. So it is a must for it to come back to normal. And I expect the managers of the economy to make sure it comes back to normal.
And there's no possibility that can happen.
If it doesn't come back to normal, then we are in trouble as a country. So
is
I
that
expect
a possibility?
Yes, there's a possibility because as long as it's human institution, somebody can mess it up. But I hope we don't get there.
Okay.
I hope we shouldn't get there. And then there is what we call certificate of deposits or fixed deposits.
Right.
Now, fixed deposits are the ones run by the banks themselves. So your money is with the bank. So the treasury bill and the bonds, the banks are just like agents. Let me use instead of brokers. We call them brokers, but for the listeners, agents. So they are agents who get the money, give it to the central bank, that's the Bank of Ghana. But for certificate of deposit or fixed deposits, it's with the bank. So it's with the bank's treasury. They manage that one. They use it they borrow the money in a way from the public, and then they lend it at higher rate through loans and stuff. So you can go for fixed deposits, but because of the current financial challenges, I'll tell people go for very short term or go for long term and then close your money. But still go for short term so that after 91 days, you see what happens to your money. You decide what next to do with it. Now, the long-term ones are what people now should start looking for. Okay. Currently, I think there is a Ghana Stock Exchange. They'll be having a program. Might be one of the speakers with them. They'll be coming to Kumasi.
Okay.
And I think people should now look into going into stocks. Okay. And for the stocks, because of time, I wouldn't want to explain what the common stock is, preferred stocks, and so on.
That's what people should be paying you for.
Exactly. So with that one, in simple terms, maybe pick EcoBank. Instead of being a customer of EcoBank alone, you can also become a shareholder of EcoBank, which means you can go to the Ghana Stock Exchange, get a broker, we call them brokers, and then they will be able to help you. And then if you don't know anything where to start, just look for Ghana Stock Exchange, call their number, they'll guide you, they'll take you through, and they'll give you all the guidelines that you need. So people can buy stocks for now. Okay. Mutual funds is what we were hearing. So the example is with the Data Bank, DC and the rest, and Fidelity and the rest. So the mutual fund, recently I had a program with the MD for EDC, and I asked him personally, I mean, what is happening with EDC and said, we all know what is happening. Some are within their control, others are out of control. But like I know and he knows, this will not survive for the long term. Okay. Eventually, because the economy, the Ministry of Finance cannot let this go on for a long term. That's how come this is a temporary arrangement. So eventually, everybody who is doing mutual fund, after 2 years, everything should come back to normal and things should be normal. So it's just a temporary arrangement. And you know, people don't know this about IMF and stuff. The IMF does not impose rules on the country. Okay. They come, they do an assessment. When they do the assessment, they will now tell you the red lines. Here are the indicators. You are in red here, you are in red here, you are in red here. Go home and then sort out yourself and come back to us and tell us measures you are putting in place. We call it mitigating measures that you're going to put in place to mitigate the risk. So the government will now come and say, okay, we'll now cut down salaries, we'll stop employment, we'll do this, and then they'll bring the file again. Then they'll assess it. Then they say, no, go and do this again. Then they'll bring it. Once they get there. So Ghana needed to pass through some of these things for us to become bankable. Bankable so it's a temporary thing, so you can still go for them, and the mutual fund will bounce back somewhere from 2024 upwards. And then you can also go for business. Okay, people say business has high risk. But I always tell people that if you are the CEO of a business that pays you 20,000, 50,000, then it means the business is making more than that 50,000.
Yes.
The owner is definitely making more.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can choose to become the owner than the employee. So those who have appetite for risk, I think this will not be a bad time to look around for some businesses that you can invest your money in. I have always said this thing over and over. You cannot make any true wealth in this world without land. In economics, we call it land, but we are referring to all these things. So land, as you see, and also building, so real estate.
Right.
Now, real estate is something that you don't get it wrong because land appreciates over time. So if you are struggling with anything, go for prime area lands or very good lands that are yet to develop. You have enough money to spread. Those having 2 million, 3 million, and they think they are having financial haircut and stuff, go into real estate, and then you can rent it over time. The thing about rental is that you get the proceeds from the rent and still have the value of the building appreciating over time. So real estate is a very good place to go, and you can never get it wrong over long term, but it's very capital intensive. So not so many people can go into it.
Yeah.
Farming has not been a bad thing at all, and farming has become a very good place for people. I have done farming, and I failed in some of them. I've done business, I failed in some of them, and I've succeeded also in some of them.
Okay.
Normally, it's good we tell people the dynamics of failure and success so that people know what they are up against. So farming has its own, I would say, ups and downs and challenges that you need to understand. But if you get it right, you will be able to make good money from it. Currently, there is a high demand for cassava, because there is a new about 2-3 companies somewhere around the Afram Plains that are manufacturing starch and stuff.
Yeah.
So any quantum of cassava, they'll buy it from you. So go into farming with an off-taker. Moringa, they are off-takers. Cashew off-takers. Cocoa, I would always say for the nation's preservation, I tell people to still go into cocoa if you have a lot of money, teak and other things. So farming is a very good one.
Okay.
Catfish and tilapia is not bad at all. But the problem with it is that due to the cost of high feed, the feed they give to them, the cost, not adding value to the catfish, okay, or the tilapia makes it more not so lucrative.
Okay.
So where I mean adding value is where you begin to dry them, smoke them, and do the point and grill. You make more money by adding value than selling just a fresh catfish or the tilapia, and that one can also earn you some money. There's also money in services, and people don't know that. I am, for example, I am a knowledge broker. So I have a consultancy. I don't sell a product, okay? But people literally will pay for the service. So where we are entering now, there are so many ways you can also do a lot of services, and you can look for your area of expertise, and then you can. There's also a bit of investment into yourself, knowledge-wise.
Right.
And for now, if you don't know anything about tech, I think you should be learning. I'm even thinking myself of doing a second, probably PhD in technology, financial technology, and the rest. Because where the world is going with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and stuff, all of us don't have an option. Tech has become an accelerator.
Right.
It's no longer a course for computer engineering students. It's actually our daily life.
Yeah.
So you need to get more or less into tech. And I can assure you now, they are in high demand. I personally have helped some young people who are earning not less than $5,000, $10,000 a month remotely here in Ghana.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and you can go into cybersecurity, data science, you can do cloud computing, and all of these ones, if you're able to get the proper certification, anyone who learns it and is willing can contact, will be able to help the person out. So there are so many ways that you can make money, invest now. But I'll always say for those who want to play it safe, they have to stick with these traditional ones I mentioned. They can go into real estate. Otherwise, they have to go into business. And I think going into business wouldn't be bad now, but you have to go into businesses that you do understand. You can go for safe zone businesses, and when I call safe zone businesses, it's business where you are actually going for money from one side. Okay, so goods from one side, and you are delivering it to another side. It's very safe because you know your margin on it. It's a markup, and then you just sell. So you can do the buy and sell if you are not so comfortable. And I think some people should also start identifying early startups. Actually, by 2024, I intend starting maybe a venture capitalist for people.
Okay.
Because there are so many young people with potential. So, for example, I met this young lady who has a deeper understanding of chemicals for soap and pomade and stuff. She's been able to solve her own acne problems and all those stuff. And this young girl would not need anything more than 30,000, 50,000 to set up.
To start up,
And if you put that money into it, she's going to be the next Mercy Cream, Injure Cream, or Chuchu, or whatever. And then you can cash out with that person. So I think some of us can also now start looking into investing into some of these ideas and so on and so forth. I gave an example of one of my clients who somebody believed in him and then decided to put $100,000 with that person. Today, they are making so much money from the business they are doing. Within a period of just 12 to 14 months, they are doing so well. And now the person is increasing it. Now, they had only one shop for selling of the items that they sell. Now they have, as 15, they are moving to the 16th shop. And they are making good money. Or when I say good money, not less than $1 million a week. In terms of sales. Yes. And these are things that people can look into too. But there are risks involved. Yes, myself, I would always say that I've made money and I've lost money, so that when people are listening, they know there are risk involved. But there is always this thing I say, because we say that cars are prone to accidents, would we not sit in cars? So we still would have to make that.
I like how balanced and diverse your response was, right? I'll just chip in that I think some people think business is very easy. You just buy and you sell. It's not that easy. So as long as you are putting money into it, you should also invest in the structure, doing the right thing so that you don't lose all your money, you know. But we have a few comments on YouTube. Frank Teddy Marfo says, great one, Dr. Evans Dria. And Enokusi says, wow, brilliant, with that and a hat. Let's move a bit to investment tools for children. Let's say you're a parent and you want to create maybe a safe investment for your children. Do you have any ideas around that?
So normally, I've been saying this thing for a while now. For kids, there is a trust fund that we have, and there's a insurance component. So I'll take it from the investment banking side, and then I'll take it from the insurance side, just the two. So with the insurance, the last time I came here, I think when I was teaching about how to create wealth, I talked about the fact that we need to spend below 60% of our earnings. And I advise that 10% of our earnings should go into what we call wealth protection. Of that wealth protection, I call it the 3Ds. In that 3Ds, we have the dependents, we have diseases, and then we have damages. So with the dependents, those are your children. Those days where we live and expect that, God forbid, if something happens to us, an uncle or an auntie will take care of our kids are no more. The world is moving more into a nuclear family mentality than an extended family. So you need to immediately put in a fund where you protect your family. And doing that can be done in so many ways. So you can do that first as a life insurance for yourself. So when you do a life insurance, you put in the beneficiaries, and that will be your children, your spouse. So what happens with it is that they will not be worse off. Then there's educational policies that you can do. Educational policies would help you. And now with certain insurance companies, the educational policy does not have, so insurance has what we call risk policy and savings policy. Some policies do not have risk component and do not have savings component. It's only risk. So for example, comprehensive insurance does not have any savings component. It's
Yeah.
only risk.
Yeah.
So if you pay the money and there's no accident, there's no damage, you don't get anything. But the educational policy, there are some insurance firms here in Ghana that have the savings component.
Mm-hmm.
It means that you are putting money in there for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid, if you are no more there,
Mhm.
the education will be catered for,
Right.
and the insurance will continue till they are done.
Mm-hmm.
However, God being so good, nothing happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
This contribution, the premiums that you've been paying, will be piled up
Mm-hmm.
and then would even earn interest according to the prevailing market rates,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be given back at the graduation or at the expiry of the
Right.
policy. So the education policy is also a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
They can do for your kids. Now, if you put all of these ones aside
Mhm.
and the other ones that people can do in terms of health and other stuff,
Right.
you put all of them and you come to the investment banking side of it.
Mhm.
What happens is that you can go for a trust fund. So
Mm.
many people think that they have to wait for their children to be 18 before you
Mhm.
can open an account. No. You can open an account for your child right
Yeah.
now, but it will be held in trust.
Right.
So in trust would mean that the child's name will be there. So it will be maybe Evans, Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So in trust of,
Yeah.
and so on and so on. So I'll be holding in trust of him,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can open that account. Some banks have what called kiddie accounts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll let you do almost like a debit transaction
Mm-hmm.
where you put a certain amount of money that is, they sweep it from your account
Mhm.
into that every month. And then some of them are also even inculcating insurance policy in some of these ones with coverage. So
Right.
they are having a hybrid with insurance and savings for you at some of the banks. So you can also go for that one. I always say that every birthday of your child, and for me, I'm starting at the 10th birthday, by the way, of my
Okay.
first child. And the reason I'm starting at the 10th is because there are certain things we've already put in place, but when it comes to stocks and stuff, I'll start at their 10th because I want to go there with them
Okay.
and I want them to remember.
Right.
So that's how come I'm starting at the 10th. So some can start earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Start at their birthdays. Instead of giving them shoes and stuff,
Mhm.
you can give them, oh, this is your shares in EcoBank, this is your shares in SG, this is your shares in Talo, this is your shares, whatever. So all these listed companies that you want to buy,
Mhm.
MTN and so on, and then you give it to them, and they should watch it as it grows. And then you do some mutual funds for them and so on. So these are
Mhm.
some very, very good things that you can do for your kids in terms of investment banking side that you can also do for them.
Mm.
And I always say that don't wait for your kids to go. Start buying lands for them. I believe in lands. I'm an advocate for lands, for real estate. If you can't do it now, plan towards it.
Right.
If in future you buy the land for them, if you can build for them,
Mhm.
even build for them and have them have rental for them.
Mm.
But don't build a house where your children will live in. In 5-10 years, often they don't like the taste of the building.
Yep.
But if it's for rental, the people would always need place,
Yeah.
and people rent it out. So you can
That's a
build.
very good
You
point.
can build for them.
Right. So many gems, really. So many gems. Yeah, just throwing out there like that. Vivian Odro on YouTube again says, amazing. Thank you, Dr. Dia, for sharing these insights. Yes, my sentiments exactly. Dr. Dia, why are we not teaching these things in school?
That's a good one. So, the school system works in a way that is academic.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are what are called extracurricular and extramural activities.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that has to be extracurricular.
Mhm.
The school is focused on building foundational knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So foundational knowledge is like people saying what is Pythagoras theory and all those.
Mhm.
What do we use?
Which we
them?
don't need.
We still need them.
Convince me.
Okay, good. So if you pick somebody like me who didn't have to do anything with maybe engineering and anything, somebody who
Mhm.
asks, why do I? It will shock you that mathematically speaking, when you're using a shortcut,
Mm-hmm.
you would remember that from A, B, C,
Mm-hmm.
because you know that A squared plus B squared squared, you know that this path is shorter and you prove it. So last 2 weeks, I was telling someone why from here to Doom this path is shorter,
Mhm.
and I was using maths.
Mm-hmm.
So these things are ingrained in our subconscious, and
Right.
we apply them without even knowing them. So the school system we have is meant to build that fundamental knowledge.
Okay.
So you have to build upon it. And remember, the school system is like this. And this is what people don't know. The school is meant to produce employees.
Yep.
So the school is supposed to tell you that you are a disciplined young person who went to University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development for 4 years. You got high grades. You sat there, and then for that reason, if they employ you for the next 10 years, you be with them, you be
Yeah.
disciplined, you come every day, and you perform. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
So the school system is for that. Now, if you want to think outside the box, we can't let the whole world think outside the box. Some people have to be mechanical. So, so the school would give you the foundation, but the rest you have to work for it. And that's how come some of us do a lot of extracurricular, extramural activities for students.
Right.
So my mentoring is not to teach them another school things,
Okay.
but general life
Life
and how
stuff.
to become better.
I actually think, Doc, you should. I was going to say you should consider, but I can't say that. But consider doing something for kids, primary school age kids. I'm talking about, right? Whether it's a summer program or something.
It's true. I actually mentored one of the biggest pharmacists in Kumasi there. He brought the 3 kids for me to mentor them. I took them through a 2-year mentoring one-on-one with them.
Okay.
And the family is super grateful.
What you say kids like?
So they were GHS 1, GHS 3. Yes. Actually, and then I think class 5 or 6. So there were 3 boys. So I handled the 2 boys in GHS 1, and they were confused about the course to take, what to do, and all that. And one wanted to just be a pharmacist, like the parents are doing, and the other wanted to be an engineer, law, now confused. What I did with these kids, I realized might be helpful for other kids. I did not impose anything on them. I made them talk, listen to them, give them assignments, guide them, everything. And they are doing fantastic. They went to SSN. Now, the parents feel like they are like some adults they deal with. They've really grown up so fast because they've quickly self-identified. The problem with most kids is that self-identity is a problem.
Right.
They don't discover themselves too quick. So they are finding themselves from their peers, from TV, from other places. When a kid is able to self-identify quickly, it's difficult for anybody else to push them away. And that gives them a very strong... So I think I have to look at that. Maybe
I will give you the needed pressure. Doc, what are your thoughts about couples investing together?
Before marriage and before the experiences I've gained from other friends and couples and stuff, I am 100% for couples doing everything together.
Okay.
But for the other side of divorce and other complex things I'm seeing now, I personally believe that couples are right from the beginning. And this is a very sensitive one because I've dealt with a couple where the relationship was so toxic, so divorce was the best way for them.
Okay.
However, their investment together struggled. Finally, they all had to liquidate and quit that investment. It was a business because leadership and management was going to struggle because it became very toxic. They couldn't meet eye to eye.
Yeah.
So,
I've worked in a company like that right out of university.
Wow.
And they were fighting. So if you
front of
come to work,
exactly,
you came because of the husband, so go because the wife has already. It was terrible.
So what I'm currently advising is that most couples should help each other flourish. Number one.
Okay.
So if the wife is doing some good business, the husband should help. If the husband is doing some good business, the husband should help. And they should do common things for the kids in particular. So whatever they do should be focused on the kids. And then they should always have clear shares in what they are doing, contribution. And the contribution should not be just financial. So, for example, if a couple and the wife decided to stay home to take care of kids, for example, where it happens, The husband should not say, I brought the money, so everything is mine. That's not how it should be.
Yeah.
They
They ask you for the receipt from the
Yes.
market when they know very well that we don't give receipts when you buy cassava.
So what should happen here is that I believe that couples should help each other to be able to build what they are doing.
Okay.
Number two, every investment should be children focused. That's what I'll give. But I believe couples should invest together.
Okay.
Investment, you see, myself, I always say that my wife and I leverage quickly on our career to build what we built.
Okay.
So because of what she could have access to, what I could have access to, we quickly leverage and then build something quickly out of it. But then eventually, because we are both career people, I realized that we can't do everything together. And in trying to do everything together, you may kind of not help her with her own career ambitions. So then I realized that no, let me give room for her to do what she has to do.
Okay.
And if there is any vision she wants, anything, if there is any way, we say, okay, we can't do these two things at the same time.
Right.
So let's build mine, and then we'll come to yours. Let's build yours, then we'll come to mine. And then let's build common things for the children.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. What are the common mistakes you see people making when it comes to investment?
So the whole thing about investment is please never invest in something that you do not understand.
Okay.
So if somebody comes to you and say, there's Bitcoin, there's blockchain, there is network marketing, don't invest in it if you do not understand. If you're going to invest in it, then take the pain to understand.
Okay.
I have seen network marketing, some work so well, even for me in the past for some people, and some are just pyramid schemes and stuff. You need to understand the dynamics, and once you understand it, so how can you understand it? Ask the right questions, talk to the experts, seek, and then make your own informed decision before you invest into it. So never invest into something which you do not understand.
Okay.
Point number two, quite a number of people are thinking that the majority is always right. I have come to understand in investment where so many people are running from pay attention. When you see people running from something, pay attention to it. I am not saying go and invest in it, but pay attention to why they are running from it. You know, the world works in a way that sometimes there's a natural cleanup in the system.
Okay.
Currently, businesses are not doing well because of the economy and other factors. But those who have the money, who are the kings in it, are doing well. So there are times where the system will clean up for you, and you staying would also make you make more money.
Okay.
Karen, as we're talking, there are people leaving the country. If you're a specialist, you're whatever, and then with time you become well known, everybody knows that you are the go-to guy. The one who goes out and is coming would have to prove a point. You have already made a name here. So if you realize, most of my people who go out, I tell them, as you are even out, stay in touch with people. I'm a social media guy because I have realized that social media takes the geographical location out of the system. So even if I'm in Ghana, I reach out to a lot of people out. If I'm out of Ghana, I'm still reaching out to people. So I remember after Pempe, I left the country and then I was out. But because of social media, I was in touch with literally everybody back home.
Okay.
That when I came back, I didn't have to
You
now...
didn't feel like you left, right?
Exactly. I was like, I was already around.
Right.
So you would have to understand that where the world is going is not all about people saying this is not working. Understand it for yourself and then make that investment. The third point I'm always going to tell people is that no matter what you do, and one mistake you should never do is never lose money. Never lose money. Do everything not to lose money.
Okay.
And no matter what, learn to be liquid. The rich man I know is the man with money ready to invest. So I, for example, I don't have liquid because I'm always putting my money into investment. But I always have businesses that are short-term, medium-term, and long-term. So that when I have a quick move I need to make, I can quickly liquidate the short-term ones and go and do that one. So always find ways and means of having certain investment where within 1 to 3 months, you can liquidate it for a better opportunity. So never lose money. But the fourth one is that always remain as liquid as possible and be ready for opportunities as they come along. Yeah. So the last mistake that people should not make, and this one is one of the few mistakes, but it can be very deadly. Never trust people more than you trust your own self.
Okay.
I am an expert, but I can be wrong. So when I give you my words, I give you my expertise, pass it through other channels, pass it through other people. When I give recommendations to people and they don't check it with other people, I ask myself, you shouldn't trust me too much. Not because I'm not trustworthy, I am, but I'm human, I can be wrong. In that same way, your banker, whoever gives you the pass it through 1 or 2 people, sieve it before you make that decision. And I've always used a funnel approach. Each decision I'm making, I pass it through my wife, pass it through my close friends, pass it through some experts. Just think it through, your pastor, and so on and so forth. But there's also this thing about pastors, before I forget. Pastors are not I'll call it the preserve of all knowledge. There's a spiritual component of it. Seek for that. But don't let them become the expert in everything. So seek advice, seek counsel, because in the multitude of counsel, there's wisdom, there's safety there.
I can carry on this conversation forever. Our time is up. Dr. Dia, I think I'm going to have to call you back sometime this season, when you come back. You know what I mean? I'll have to let you come back so that we complete this discussion. But before you go, do you have any recommended books or courses or anything people can get started with?
So I think people should. Ghana Stock Exchange is a good place.
Okay.
Recently, they do quite a lot of programs for those who want to learn trading and stuff. So I'll recommend Ghana Stock Exchange.
Now that you mentioned trading, let me stop you. Do you think anybody can trade? Or is the preserve of a few?
Anybody can.
Anybody can trade.
It's a skill you can learn.
Okay.
I'm saying this because the number of people who are so successful in trade. You are talking about business trade, or
no,
online. Online trading.
Forex and stuff.
Forex trading. Oh, good. So forex trading is a skill. Anybody can trade. You can learn it. So I have some 3 young guys. Actually, there were 7 now. It's left with 3 of them. KNUST students. I think they are now going to level 400. Have no business background, no maths. I think computer engineering, biochem, and some. And these guys can move $5,000 to $50,000 within a very good. And I'm mentoring them because I want to help them with managing of risk. So but they are super smart. They learned it and then they're able to. So the only thing about trade is that you need to understand the language. You need to be willing to understand the dynamics, and learn from the right people.
Okay.
Yeah, but anybody can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody can.
So back to resources, Ghana Stock Exchange.
So Ghana Stock Exchange is very good. There are a lot of free online courses. So MIT is giving a lot of free online courses. You can go to Harvard, also is giving a lot of free online courses. Google is also giving a lot of free online courses. And I've always said that because YouTube is well monetized, YouTube has become a very free good university to go to. I never knew up until just about the early part of this year that there is literally every solid course. Some people have recorded 48 hours of video teaching you step by step everything you need to know.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, coding. Some people have done it. Data analysis. So, it's online. And these are things that if you don't search for them, you'll not find, because people are there listening to the music and the fun. So, they don't pop up quickly, but you can find it. So YouTube is a good one, but of course you have to sieve it. Otherwise, there's a lot of garbage out there, and so on and so forth. So I think these ones should be good, and then follow the right influencers and get the right books. For me, books has always been the number one for me. Read as many books as possible, and read wide, and then always pass it through experts. So resources, go for books, read as much as possible, and whatever you are not sure of, pass it through. But be careful with misinformation too. There's a lot of false information out there. Yeah.
Now that you mentioned books, tell us about your book.
Okay, so my book is Intentional World 2.0, building with the Pentagon World Model. The book is on Amazon and nationwide. And anybody can reach to my website, evansdia.com. We'll deliver wherever you are.
Do you have it in any bookstores around?
Yeah, so we have a KNUST in Kumasi. You can get a copy there. And then I'm now trying to give it to the filling stations too.
Okay.
But we prefer doing delivery. So they just reach out to me, evansdia.com, or any of my social media handles who send it to you.
Okay.
Because I still like to give personalized copies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're just a personable.
Yes.
You like the human interaction.
Exactly.
You know, with everything.
I like
that
to
you
get
do.
the feedback. My book was not supposed to be a money-making thing for me. So I'm so concerned about the feedback and the impact it makes. So I'm trying to get to know who bought it, how is it helping them. That's how come I've personalized it.
Okay. And if somebody wants to reach out to you for maybe coaching, are you available for that?
I think yes. So evansgia.com, that's my website. You can book an appointment. I'm on Facebook. I'm more active on Facebook because it allows me to write a lot. Okay. So Evansgia, so Facebook is Dr. Evansgia.
Right.
For my professional one. My LinkedIn, Twitter, Evansgia, the same Evansgia everywhere.
It's expensive to work with you, right?
Not really. Not really.
He says not really.
Not really. So right. I do the free one for the mentoring. So that one I do for free.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I'm closed. I do it every year. So I pick 100 people between the age of now 20. At first, I was doing 18 to 40. Now I'm doing 20 to 40. And those above 40, exceptionally, we accept up to 45.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one is free of charge.
Okay.
It's my way of giving back to society. But those who want us to help them with their business, I do strategic plans, business plans. We do financials for people, fundraising, investor readiness and stuff. We do that, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Any book coming up?
Yes, so I'm going to have in January. This is just so Echoes in the Ether. So this is just a simplified one, the short form. It's 200 of my quotes and words I've put out there.
Okay.
But the book comes out in January. So the bigger book will be out in January.
I recall you said you had so many books you had written and now you're publishing.
I have 21 of them.
Wow.
But I'll be releasing one every year.
Okay.
Yeah, one every year.
Okay.
Because I want they are timeless. So maybe now I can do 2 a year maybe.
I know.
Because they all handle different things altogether.
Okay.
So it's all not finance.
Okay.
Yes, they are about different things.
Interesting. Thank you for joining me on the Women Lately show. It's turned out as amazing as I thought it would, and I personally learned a lot of things.
Thank you.
I'm coming for coaching. Please don't charge me too much.
But
I beg
I
you.
actually have to also come for coaching later.
Yes, I know. We should trade coaching. I think I'm going to end on Alex's comments. He says, I am really blessed here. Yes, my sentiments exactly. Dr. Evans, thank you for Dr. Evans. I realize he says Evans, it doesn't say Evans. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to everyone who joined us live on the show. We're going to be back in the studio same time next week for another exciting episode. As always, my name, Francisca Taylor. Good afternoon, and we will be with you 1 p.m. next Wednesday.